Hello there, and welcome to the AstroSleep channel. I am so glad you found your way here tonight. The day has finally come to an end, and the noise of the waking world is slowly fading behind you. You have navigated the hours, you have completed your tasks, and now you have arrived at the only destination that truly matters right now. You have arrived at a place of sanctuary, a quiet corner of the internet, where there are no demands, no urgent questions, and absolutely no rush. Here, time moves differently. It does not tick forward with the anxious rhythm of a clock, but rather it flows gently and endlessly, like a deep, dark river moving towards a calm sea. Tonight, we are not simply going to talk about astronomy. We are going to drift. We are going to loosen our grip on the solid Earth and float upwards, leaving the heaviness of the ground far below us. Our destination is the most familiar yet mysterious neighborhood in the universe. We are going to explore our home, the solar system. But we will not look at it through the lens of cold data or frantic discovery. Instead, we will view it as a vast, silent garden of sleeping worlds. We will witness the slow, majestic dance of planets that have been turning in the dark for billions of years, long before we were here to count them, and they will continue to turn long after we have closed our eyes. We will find comfort in the vastness. There is a profound peace in realizing that we are part of something so immense, so ancient, and so perfectly ordered. In the presence of these giant spheres and drifting moons, our own worries become incredibly small, dissolving into the velvet background of space. We will visit the silent craters of Mercury, the swirling clouds of Venus, and the lonely, beautiful red deserts of Mars. We will drift past the great giants of gas and ice, and we will float all the way to the quiet, frozen edges where the sun is nothing more than a bright star in the distance. If these calm, curious explorations help you unwind, I invite you to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here too. And now, there is nothing left for you to do but rest. Before we begin our ascent into the stars, let us first ground ourselves in this moment of perfect stillness. I invite you to make yourself as comfortable as you can possibly be. Adjust your pillows, pull the blankets up to your chin, and find that position where your body feels completely supported. Let the mattress rise up to meet you, holding you securely, allowing you to surrender your weight entirely to gravity. There is no need to hold yourself up anymore. The earth has you. The ground is steady. You are safe. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body become light, as if gravity itself has eased. Take a long, slow breath in, filling your lungs with cool, calming air. Hold it for just a moment, feeling the stillness within your chest, and then let it go in a long, soft sigh. With every breath out, imagine that a wave of relaxation is washing over you, starting from the very top of your head and flowing down to the tips of your toes. Feel the muscles in your forehead smooth out, letting go of any furrowed lines or tension from the day. Let your eyes sink deeper into their sockets, resting heavy and still behind your eyelids. Unclench your jaw, allowing your mouth to rest naturally, and let your shoulders drop down, away from your ears, sinking further into the soft surface beneath you. Imagine that your arms are becoming heavy and warm, lying limp by your sides. Your hands are open and soft, releasing anything they might have been holding on to tightly. Feel this wave of heaviness move down through your spine, softening the muscles of your back, untying any knots of stress. Let your hips settle. Let your legs become long and loose, and feel that relaxation flow all the way down into your ankles and your feet. you are becoming a part of the stillness. You are no longer a person carrying the weight of the world. You are simply a consciousness, light and free, ready to drift. As your body enters this state of deep rest, imagine that the ceiling above you is slowly becoming transparent. The solid architecture of your room is dissolving, fading away like mist, revealing the magnificent, sprawling canvas of the night sky above. The air around you is cool and clear. You can see the stars, not as flat points of light, but as distant, glowing suns, hanging in the infinite depth of the cosmos. The silence up here is absolute. It is not an empty silence, but a heavy, comforting silence. A blanket that wraps around the entire solar system, muffling all sound, leaving only peace. We are going to lift off now, not with a roar of engines, but with the lightness of a thought. We are detaching from the surface, rising slowly through the atmosphere, passing the sleeping clouds and entering the velvet blackness of space. Below us, the Earth is a soft, glowing crescent, but we are turning our gaze outward. We are turning toward the center, toward the light, toward the beginning of it all. We are travelers of the mind, drifting on the currents of gravity, moving effortlessly toward the hearth of our cosmic home. Let's begin. As we leave the familiar shadow of the Earth behind us, we turn our gaze toward the center of our cosmic neighborhood, drifting slowly toward the great golden anchor that holds us all in place. There is a presence here, a singular point of immense gravity and light that defines the very existence of our system. And as we approach it, we do not feel heat or danger, but rather a profound sense of stability. It sits in the center of the void like a king on a throne, not ruling with force, but with the gentle, unyielding power of its own mass. It is the reason we are here, and it is the reason we stay, caught in its eternal gravitational embrace. The sun is so vast that it defies our ordinary understanding of size, holding within itself nearly all the matter in the entire solar system. If we were to gather every planet, every moon, every drifting asteroid, and every comet into a single pile, they would still amount to less than a fraction of a percent of the sun's magnificence. It is a sphere of glowing plasma so perfect and so heavy that it bends the fabric of space around it, creating a deep well that keeps the planets rolling in their orbits like marbles circling the rim of a bowl. This gravity is the invisible hand of the solar system, a constant, silent force that reaches out across billions of miles to ensure that nothing is lost to the darkness. It holds Jupiter in its grand orbit, it tethers the distant frozen Neptune, and it gently cups the Earth, keeping us at the perfect distance to harbor oceans and dreams. We often think of the sun as a ball of fire, burning like a log in a fireplace. But the reality is far more serene and far more enduring. There is no fire here in the traditional sense, for fire requires oxygen, and the sun exists in the vacuum of space. Instead, what we are witnessing is a state of matter known as plasma, a glowing fluid ocean of electrified gas that moves and shifts with a slow, hypnotic rhythm. It is not burning up. It is glowing from the sheer intensity of its existence. It is a ball of light that has been shining for 4.5 billion years, a lighthouse that has never once flickered out, providing a constant, unwavering signal in a galaxy that is mostly made of shadow. Deep within the heart of this great sphere, buried under layers of glowing gas thousands of miles thick, lies the core, a place of profound transformation. Here, in the crushed silence of the center, the pressure is so intense that atoms are pressed together until they merge. It is not a violent collision, but a unification, a marriage of elements where hydrogen atoms, the simplest building blocks of the universe, are squeezed until they embrace and become helium. In this act of becoming one, they release a tiny, pure pulse of energy. This is the heartbeat of the sun. It is a fusion reaction, a process that turns matter directly into light, a continuous, self-sustaining miracle that turns the cold, dark dust of the universe into warmth. This light, born in the crushing depth of the core, does not immediately rush out into the universe, but instead begins a long, wandering journey that is almost impossible to comprehend. The interior of the sun is so dense, so crowded with particles, that a single photon of light cannot travel in a straight line. It moves only a fraction of an inch before it meets another particle, is absorbed, and is released again in a completely random direction. It is a dance of hesitation, a zigzagging path through a crowded ballroom. A single particle of light may spend 100,000 years, or perhaps even 1,000,000 years, simply trying to find its way from the center of the sun to the surface. It wanders through the radiative zone, drifting slowly upward, aging as it climbs. There is something deeply comforting in this thought, that the sunlight which touched your face today, or which filters through your window in the morning, is not new. It is ancient. It was born in the deep, dark past, perhaps before human beings walked the earth, before languages were spoken, before cities were built. It has been wandering inside the sun for eons, patiently working its way out, waiting for its moment to be free. It is a messenger from a time long forgotten, carrying the memory of the sun's deep history, finally breaking free from the surface to travel across the emptiness of space to warm our world. As we drift closer to the surface, known as the photosphere, we can see that the sun is not a solid, smooth marble, but a textured, living skin. It looks like the surface of a pot of simmering honey, covered in granules that rise and fall in a slow, mesmerizing motion. Each of these granules is the size of a country like France or Texas, a bubble of hot plasma rising from the deep, releasing its heat into space and then sinking back down to be warmed again. It is a convection cycle, a breathing motion that covers the entire star. If we could speed up time, we would see the surface of the sun heaving and sighing, a rhythmic rise and fall, like the chest of a sleeping giant. And though space is a vacuum where sound cannot travel, the sun itself is not silent. Astronomers have discovered that the sun rings like a bell. The movement of the plasma, the rising bubbles, and the immense energy flowing through it, these vibrations are sound waves, resonating deep within the solar interior, too low for human ears to hear, a frequency millions of times deeper than the lowest note on a piano. It is a constant, low thrum, a resonant hum that permeates the entire structure of the star. It is the song of the system, a background vibration that has been playing for billions of years, a cosmic lullaby that sings to the planets as they sleep. Sometimes, on this shifting surface, dark spots appear, drifting slowly across the face of the star like islands on a sea of fire. These sunspots are cooler areas, places where the sun's powerful magnetic field has become twisted and knotted, preventing the heat from rising. They are magnetic storms, vast and silent, often larger than the entire Earth. They drift and change shape over weeks, a visual reminder of the complex invisible forces that weave through the star. Above them, great loops of plasma, known as prominences, arc out into the black sky. Following the magnetic lines like glowing bridges, they rise up, hang suspended in the void for days or weeks, defying gravity before gently raining back down onto the surface. It is a fountain of light, playing silently in the dark. From this radiant surface, the sun exhales. It does not just send out light, it sends out a part of itself. We call this the solar wind. It is a stream of charged particles, a thin, invisible mist that flows outward from the sun in all directions, blowing past the planets like a breeze, moving through an orchard. This wind carries the sun's magnetic field with it, creating a vast bubble around the solar system called the heliosphere. We live inside this bubble. The sun is effectively blowing a safe space for us within the interstellar medium, pushing back the dust and cosmic rays of the galaxy, creating a sheltered harbor where our planets can orbit in peace. As we drift further back, looking at the sun as a whole, it gives away 4 million tons of its own mass every single second, converting it into energy and casting it out into the void. It is slowly, very slowly, becoming lighter. It is unraveling itself to keep us warm. And yet, it is so massive that it can continue this generosity for another 5 billion years without exhaustion. It is a symbol of limitless patience. It does not ask for anything in return from the planets it warms. It simply exists. It shines and it holds. There is a profound stillness in realizing that the sun also moves. We often think of it as the stationary center, the fixed point around which we all revolve. But the sun is also a traveler. It is drifting through the Milky Way galaxy, carrying the entire solar system with it. We are moving at an astonishing speed of nearly 500,000 miles per hour, orbiting the center of the galaxy. The sun is leading us on a grand voyage, bobbing up and down through the galactic plane like a carousel horse. It takes 230 million years for the sun to complete just one orbit around a galaxy. This is a galactic year. The last time the sun was in this part of the galaxy, dinosaurs were just beginning to rise on Earth. The sun has seen eras rise and fall. It has watched mountains grow and crumble, and it continues to lead us forward into new regions of space, into the unknown, with the quiet confidence of a celestial guide. Even the color of the sun is a gentle deception. We see it as yellow from the surface of the Earth, filtered through our blue atmosphere, but in the true clarity of space, the sun is white. It is a pure, brilliant white, containing all the colors of the rainbow mixed together perfectly. It is the standard by which we judge all other colors. When it dips low on our horizon at sunset, its light is scattered, turning red and orange, painting our clouds with the colors of a dying fire, giving us a gentle visual cue that the day is ending, that it is time to rest. The sun dictates the rhythm of our lives. It triggers the biology of sleep and wakefulness in every living thing, from the simplest plankton in the ocean to the complex mind of a human being. We are creatures of the sun, tuned to its cycle, rising with its light and resting when it turns away. Let us linger for a moment on the concept of the sun's gravity, that invisible tether. It is strong, yes, but at this distance, it feels like a soft leash. It allows the Earth to swing out wide, to keep its distance, to maintain the cool darkness of night. The sun does not pull us in to be devoured. It holds us at the perfect length, in what astronomers call the Goldilocks zone, the habitable zone where it is not too hot and not too cold, but just right for water to flow and for life to dream. It is a delicate balance, maintained with absolute precision for billions of years. A little closer, and our oceans would boil away into steam. A little further, and they would freeze into solid blocks of ice. We are cradled in the narrow, precious band of safety, held there by the silent, gravitational wisdom of the star. As we watch the sun from our drifting vantage point in space, we can see the corona, the sun's outer atmosphere. It is a halo of pearly white light, wispy and ethereal, extending millions of miles into space. It is usually invisible to us on Earth, hidden by the glare of the main disk, only revealing itself during the rare and magical moments of a total solar eclipse. During those moments when the moon slides in front of the star, The corona blooms like a flower in the twilight, a reminder that there is beauty surrounding the power, a delicate veil wrapping the heart of the system. This atmosphere is mysteriously hotter than the surface below it, a puzzle that science is still whispering about, trying to solve. But tonight, we do not need to solve it. We only need to admire the ghostly glow of it, fading softly into the blackness. The sun is the conductor of a silent orchestra. Every planet, every asteroid, every grain of dust moves to the tempo it sets. Mercury races around quickly, breathless in its closeness. Neptune moves with agonizing slowness, taking a lifetime to shift just a small distance in its sky. But they all move in harmony, bound by the same laws, governed by the same master. There is no chaos here, only a long, slow, unfolding pattern. It is a clockwork mechanism of celestial proportions, ticking silently in the dark. And so, as we float here, warmed by the radiation of this ancient sphere, we can feel the connection. The atoms in your body were forged in stars like this one. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your cells. They were all cooked in the hearts of stars that lived and died long before the sun was born. We are, quite literally, made of stardust. When we look at the sun, we are looking at our history, our origin, and our sustainer. It is the father of our world, the silent hearth that keeps the winter of space at bay. It burns calmly. It waits patiently. It holds us securely. And as we drift away from it now, moving outward toward the realms of the planets, we carry its warmth with us. We leave the brilliance behind, letting it fade into a smaller, comforting glow in our rear view, trusting that it will be there when we wake, rising once again to begin the cycle anew. But for now, its job for you is done. It has set. It has allowed the night to come. It has given you permission to turn away from the light and embrace the soothing, healing darkness. We drift on, carried by the solar wind, moving toward the shadows where the planets sleep. As we release ourselves from the immediate radiance of the sun, we allow the solar wind to carry us gently outward, moving deeper into the vast, quiet expanse of the system. We are drifting toward the first true world, a small, solitary sphere. It hangs in the darkness, bathed in a light so intense that it appears bleached and ancient, a relic from the very dawn of the solar system. From our vantage point, drifting high above its surface, Mercury looks like a silent grey pearl, scarred and textured by billions of years of cosmic history. It is a world of stone and silence, a place where the atmosphere is so thin that it is effectively a vacuum, leaving the planet exposed to the raw emptiness of space. There is a profound stillness here that does not exist anywhere else. Because there is no air to carry sound, Mercury is a world of absolute quiet. If a meteor were to strike the surface, or if a stone were to tumble down the side of a crater, it would make no noise. The event would happen in total silence, a ghostly movement in the dark. This absence of air also means there is no wind to smooth the surface, no rain to wash away the dust. The footprints of creation are preserved here perfectly. The craters we see, vast circular basins with high, jagged rims, are the same today as they were eons ago. We are looking at a frozen memory of the early universe, a statue carved in stone that has not changed since the planets were first finding their places in the dark. As we drift over the terminator line, the dividing line between day and night, we witness a world of stark and beautiful contrasts. On the day side, the ground is baked by the relentless gaze of the sun, the rocks shimmering in the heat. But just a few miles away, on the night side, there is a deep, impenetrable cold. Without a blanket of air to trap the heat, The warmth vanishes the moment the sun sets, plunging the surface into a deep freeze. It is a world of two extremes, existing side by side in a permanent balance. And yet, amidst this harshness, there is a secret sanctuary. Deep within the craters at the poles, in places where the sunlight never reaches, there are shadows that have existed for billions of years. In these eternal shadows, astronomers have found ice. It is a quiet paradox, hidden water, frozen and safe, resting peacefully on the planet closest to the fire. Mercury moves with a frantic energy, rushing around the sun faster than any other planet, completing an entire year in just 88 Earth days. It is a sprinter, breathless and quick, trying to keep from falling into the star it orbits. And yet, while it races through space, its own rotation is agonizingly slow. It spins on its axis with a lethargic, sleepy rhythm. It takes 59 Earth days for Mercury to turn just once. This creates a strange and dreamlike passage of time. If you were standing on the surface, you would wait a very long time for the sun to rise, and once it rose, it would linger in the ink-black sky for weeks, sometimes appearing to stop or even move backward for a moment before continuing its slow arc toward the horizon. A single day on Mercury lasts longer than a year on Mercury. It is a place where the calendar dissolves, where the concepts of day and year blur into a single long stretched-out experience of light and dark. It is a world that refuses to be rushed, spinning at its own meditative pace while the universe hurries by. We observe that the planet is shrinking. As its massive iron core, which makes up most of the planet, slowly cools and contracts over billions of years, the crust wrinkles like the skin of a drying apple. These wrinkles, known as lobate scarps, are cliffs that stretch for hundreds of miles, silent monuments to the planet's slow internal cooling. It is a geological settling, a long, slow sigh of the planet as it makes itself smaller, turning inward, becoming denser and more compact as it ages. There is a sense of finality here, a feeling that Mercury has finished its turbulent youth and has settled into a long, quiet retirement, watching the sun from the front row of the theater. We drift on, leaving the silent greystone behind, and turn our gaze toward the second planet, a world that shines with such brilliance that it has captivated human eyes for millennia. We are approaching Venus. From a distance, it is the most beautiful object in the sky, a dazzling jewel that outshines every star. It is the morning star and the evening star, the first light to appear at twilight and the last to fade at dawn. But as we draw closer, the sparkle softens into a creamy, unbroken white. We are not looking at a surface of rock and water, but at a veil. Venus is wrapped entirely in a thick, global blanket of clouds, a shroud that hides its face from the rest of the universe. There is a sense of privacy here, a mystery that demands respect. We cannot see the ground. We cannot see the mountains or the valleys. We can only see the swirling pale clouds that race around the planet, moved by high-altitude winds that never cease. But while the upper atmosphere is active, the planet below is a place of heavy stillness. We descend gently through the layers of mist, sinking down into the atmosphere. The light grows dim and diffuse, turning into a golden-orange glow, like the light of a perpetual sunset. Here the air is thick. It is not like the thin, wispy air of Earth. It is dense and heavy, possessing a weight that presses down with the force of the deep ocean. To stand on the surface of Venus would be to stand at the bottom of a vast sea of air. The pressure is immense, a heavy, comforting embrace that holds everything in absolute stillness. There is no rapid movement here, The winds that whip the tops of the clouds barely reach the ground. Down here, the air moves sluggishly, creeping along at the pace of a walking person. It is a world of slow motion. The dust does not billow, it settles. The rocks do not tumble. They sit heavy and anchored. The temperature is uniformly hot, a thick, enveloping warmth that does not change from day to night, or from the equator to the poles. It is a global greenhouse, a world wrapped in a heavy quilt that traps every ounce of heat, creating a stable, unchanging environment. It is a place of permanence, where the weather is always the same, where the seasons do not shift, where change is measured not in hours. Venus holds a secret in its spin, a rebellion against the order of the solar system. While almost every other planet spins counterclockwise, Venus spins clockwise. It turns backward. It is the only major planet to do so, a retrograde motion that remains one of the great quiet mysteries of astronomy. Perhaps, long ago in the chaotic dance of the early solar system, it was nudged by another passing world, gently flipped over to spin in its own unique direction. Or perhaps it simply chose a different path. This backward spin is incredibly slow, even slower than Mercury. Venus takes 243 Earth days to turn once on its axis. It turns so slowly that, like Mercury, its day is longer than its year. It takes longer for Venus to spin once than it takes for it to orbit the Sun. Imagine the patience of such a world where the Sun rises in the west and sets in the east, but does so with such agonizing slowness that you could walk faster than the sunset. You could, in theory, walk continually toward the west and keep the Sun in the exact same spot in the sky forever, living in a perpetual moment of afternoon. Time on Venus is not a ticking clock. It is a long, drawn-out note, a sustained chord that resonates for months without resolving. Beneath the crushing weight of the atmosphere, the surface of Venus is a landscape of sleeping giants. There are thousands of volcanoes here, more than on any other planet. Some are massive, sprawling shields that rise gently from the plains, their slopes stretching out for hundreds of miles. We do not know for sure if they are still active, but if they are, they likely do not erupt with the violent explosions we see on Earth. Instead, the lava would ooze out slowly, pressed down by the heavy air, flowing like thick honey across the lowlands, paving the surface in fresh rock before cooling into stillness. These are the veins of the planet, reshaping the world in the dark, hidden beneath the cloud deck where no telescope can see. And there are continents here, too. Great highland regions that rise above the rolling plains like islands in the heavy air. We have named them Aphrodite Terra and Ishtar Terra, giving them the names of goddesses, acknowledging the feminine mystique of this veiled world. These highlands are rugged and crumpled, covered in a metallic frost that condenses from the atmosphere, snow that is not made of water, but of lead and bismuth minerals, capping the peaks in a strange reflective glittering. It is a heavy metallic snow for a heavy metallic world. Despite the heat and the pressure, there is a certain serenity in thinking about Venus. It is a world that is completely insulated. It is protected from the cold of space, protected from the bombardment of meteors, which burn up instantly in the thick air, and protected from our prying eyes. It is a world that keeps to itself. It is the introvert of the solar system, wrapped in layers of cloud, turning slowly backward, content in its own thick, warm, orange solitude. It reminds us that there are places in the universe that are not meant for us, places that exist solely for themselves. As we drift away from the creamy white sphere, we realize that Venus and Mercury are the siblings of the inner system, the two stones that circle closest to the hearth. One is naked and exposed, a witness to the raw vacuum. etched by light and shadow. The other is clothed and hidden, a secret keeper wrapped in a heavy veil of atmosphere. They are the stone and the cloud, the silence and the weight. They teach us about the different ways a world can be. A world can be open and scarred, wearing its history on its face like Mercury, or a world can be closed and mysterious, holding its history deep within like Venus. Both are valid. Both are beautiful. Both are spinning in the great quiet wheel of the system, obeying the gravity of the sun, playing their parts in the long, slow dance that has been going on for billions of years. We leave them now, receding into the glare of the center. We turn our backs to the heat and face the cooler, darker reaches of space. Ahead of us lies a blue point of light, a soft azure marble that looks impossibly fragile against the black backdrop. It is a world of liquid water and drifting clouds, a rare oasis in the desert of stars. We are drifting toward the third planet, the only place in this vast neighborhood where the universe has opened its eyes to look at itself. We are drifting toward the place you are right now. We are drifting home. From the shrouded mystery of Venus, we turn our gaze outward again, drifting through the quiet vacuum until a new color emerges from the darkness. It is a color that does not exist anywhere else in the vast, monochrome expanse of space. It is not the gray of rock, nor the white of ice, nor the pale yellow of gas. It is blue, a deep, vibrant, aching blue. We are approaching the third planet, the Earth, the oasis of the solar system. From this distance, it appears as a perfect, polished marble, a singular drop of water suspended in the endless night. It hangs there, unsupported and free, glowing with the reflected light of the sun, a beacon of softness in a universe of hard edges. As we drift closer, the details of our home begin to resolve, not as a map of borders and nations, but as a single, breathing organism. We see the vast rolling oceans, covering nearly the entire surface in a blanket of liquid sapphire. These oceans are the great moderators of our world, absorbing the heat of the day and releasing it slowly through the night, maintaining a gentle, rhythmic temperature that allows life to flourish. We see the continents not as separate lands but as islands of green and brown, resting upon the blue. And swirling above it all are the clouds, white ribbons of vapor that curl and stretch across the atmosphere, moving with a slow, deliberate grace. They are the veil of the earth, constantly changing, painting new patterns on the sky every single hour. A canvas that is never finished. Surrounding this blue sphere is a thin, glowing halo, a delicate line of iridescence that separates the solid planet from the black void. This is the atmosphere, the skin of our world. It looks incredibly fragile from here, no thicker than the skin of an apple relative to the fruit, yet it is strong enough to shield us from the harshness of the cosmos. It catches the sunlight and scatters it, turning the blinding white glare of the star into the soft, diffuse azure sky that watches over us. It burns up the meteors, turning falling stones into harmless streaks of light, fleeting wishes in the night. It holds the oxygen we breathe, keeping it close to the surface, wrapping us in a layer of invisible comfort. It is a protective bubble, a sanctuary within the sanctuary. The earth is not still. It is moving with a steady, reliable rhythm that has continued for 4.5 billion years. It turns on its axis once every 24 hours, a rotation so smooth and constant that we do not even feel it. This turning is the heartbeat of our time. It is the reason for the sunrise and the sunset, the reason for the waking and the sleeping. The planet turns us toward the light to warm us, and then, with equal care, it turns us toward the dark to let us rest. It is a lullaby of light and shadow, playing over and over again, rocking the entire world in a cycle of activity and repose. Even the seasons are a result of the Earth's gentle tilt, a nod of its axis that allows the warmth to migrate from north to south and back again, bringing the bloom of spring and the sleep of winter in a slow annual wave. But the Earth does not travel alone. As we pull back our perspective, we see a companion, a smaller, silent partner that has walked beside the Earth since the very beginning. It is the Moon. It hovers nearby, a sphere of slate-grey dust and rock, illuminated by the sun into a glowing silver lantern. It is the guardian, the faithful watchman that circles our world in a ceaseless, protective loop. The connection between the Earth and the Moon is one of the most profound relationships in the solar system. They are locked together in a gravitational dance, holding hands across 250,000 miles of empty space. The Moon is tidally locked to the Earth, which means it spins at the exact same speed that it orbits. Because of this perfect synchronization, the Moon always shows us the same face. No matter where you are on Earth, no matter what century you live in, when you look up at the night sky, you are seeing the same craters, the same dark Maria, the same man in the moon that your ancestors saw 1,000 years ago. It is a gaze that never wavers. The Moon never turns its back on us. It watches over the Earth with a constancy that is absolute. Let us drift down toward the lunar surface. It is a landscape of magnificent desolation, a world of stillness so deep that it makes the quietest desert on Earth seem noisy by comparison. There is no air here. There is no wind to rustle the dust, no water to erode the rocks, no rustling leaves, no bird calls. There is only the vacuum. Because of this, nothing changes. The footprints left by the astronauts decades ago are still there, crisp and sharp in the grey powder, as if they were made just moments ago. They will remain there for millions of years, undisturbed, a testament to the fact that on the Moon, the past is preserved forever. It is a museum of silence. The surface is covered in regolith, a fine charcoal grey dust that softens the contours of the landscape. It absorbs the sunlight and reflects it back as that cool, ghostly glow we know so well. The light of the Moon is not its own. It is sunlight, reflected and softened, stripped of its heat and intensity, turned into a lamp for the darkness. It is a light that does not demand our attention, but simply offers a presence. It is the night light of the world, gentle enough to sleep under, bright enough to guide a traveler home. And though the Moon seems far away, it touches the Earth every single day. We can feel its presence in the tides. As the Moon circles the Earth, its gravity reaches down and gently pulls on the oceans. It lifts the water up, creating a bulge that travels across the globe as the Earth spins beneath it. High tide and low tide are not random. They are the rhythmic response of the water to the movement of the Moon. The sea rises to greet its companion and then recedes, a slow hydraulic inhaling and exhaling that scours the shores and circulates the nutrients of the deep. It is a pulse, a heartbeat that connects the cold rock in the sky to the living waters of the Earth. Even the solid ground beneath your feet rises and falls slightly, a few inches every day, flexing gently in response to the Moon's passage. The Earth is being massaged by the gravity of its satellite. Sometimes the Earth returns the favor. When the alignment is just right, the Earth casts its shadow onto the Moon, creating a lunar eclipse. But even then, the Moon does not go completely dark. It turns a deep coppery red. This is because the Earth's atmosphere bends the sunlight, filtering out the blue. and letting only the red sunset light pass through to fall on the moon. When we see a blood moon, we are seeing the light of every sunrise and every sunset on Earth, all at once, projected onto the face of our companion. And at other times, when the moon is a thin crescent, we can see the dark part of the moon glowing faintly. This is Earthshine. It is light reflecting off the Earth's clouds and oceans, traveling to the moon and bouncing back to our eyes. It is the Earth lighting up the moon's night, a soft glow shared between friends in the dark. There is a theory that the moon was born from the Earth. Billions of years ago, a collision flung molten rock into orbit, which coalesced to form this silver sphere. If this is true, then the moon is not a stranger. It is a part of us. It is a piece of the Earth that was set free, a child of the planet that moved away but never left. It explains why we feel such a kinship with it, why the sight of a full moon rising over the horizon stirs something ancient and quiet within our souls. It is bone of our bone, rock of our rock, watching us from the sky. As we drift between these two worlds, the blue Oasis and the grey Guardian, we realize how perfectly they are suited for one another. Without the moon, the Earth might tilt wildly on its axis, causing chaotic climate shifts. The moon acts as a steadying anchor, keeping the Earth's tilt constant, ensuring the reliability of our seasons. It is the reason we have a predictable climate. It is the reason life could evolve in peace. It holds us steady. It keeps the rhythm true. The view from here, suspended between the two, is one of profound peace. To one side, the Earth spins, a kaleidoscope of blue and white, vibrant and alive. To the other side, the moon waits, silver and still, a monument to endurance. They hang together in the velvet emptiness, protected by the sun's gravity, wrapped in the blanket of the solar wind. There is no noise here. There is no conflict. There is only the slow, orbital mechanics of celestial bodies, following laws that are fair and unbreakable. You are down there, on that blue sphere. You are tucked away safe under the blanket of the atmosphere, held by the gravity of the planet, watched over by the silver face of the moon. You are riding on a spaceship that is fully equipped for your comfort, a world that has water to drink, air to breathe, and beauty to witness. You are part of this system. You are not separate from it. The atoms in your body are obeying the same gravity that pulls the tides. The rhythm of your sleep is tuned to the rotation of the planet. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. We linger here for a moment longer, soaking in the view of our home. It looks so peaceful from a distance, so unified. The storms that might be raging on the surface are invisible from here. All we see is the white swirl of clouds. The struggles of the day are invisible. All we see is the blue serenity. It is a reminder that distance brings perspective, that most things, when viewed from far enough away, settle into a pattern of beauty and calm. The Earth is just a quiet room in the great house of the solar system, and you are resting safely within it. As we prepare to leave this safe harbor and drift further out into the deeper, colder reaches of the system, we take the warmth of the Earth with us. We leave the Oasis and the Guardian behind, knowing they will continue their dance whether we are watching or not. The tide will come in, the tide will go out. The moon will wax, the moon will wane. The Earth will turn, bringing the dawn and the dusk. It is a clock that never needs winding, a promise that tomorrow will come, steady and sure. And in that certainty, there is permission to let go, to trust the turning of the world, and to rest. We leave the comforting embrace of the Earth and the silver watch of the moon, turning our backs on the blue oasis to face the deeper silence of the outer solar system. As we drift further away, the sun becomes a little smaller, a little less intense, and the darkness around us grows more profound. Ahead, floating in the obsidian emptiness, hangs a world that has captivated the human imagination for as long as we have looked up at the sky. It is a point of ruddy light, a warm ember glowing steadily in the cold night. We are approaching the fourth planet, Mars. From a distance, Mars appears as a perfect sphere of rust and copper, a terracotta world suspended in the void. It is often called the Red Planet, a name that evokes heat and intensity. But as we draw closer, we see that its true color is something far more subtle and beautiful. It is the color of a desert at twilight, a rich blend of ochre, burnt orange, and soft brown. This redness is not born of fire, but of air and time. The surface of Mars is covered in fine dust rich in iron, and over billions of years, the iron has reacted with the trace amounts of oxygen in the atmosphere. In a very literal sense, the planet has rusted. It is a world that wears its age on its skin, a visible testament to the slow, chemical patience of the universe. As we descend through the thin, wispy atmosphere, we enter a landscape of breathtaking solitude. Mars is a global desert, a dry and frozen wilderness that stretches from pole to pole. There are no oceans here to break the silence of the shore, no forests to catch the wind. There is only the rock, the sand, and the sky. The silence on Mars is different from the silence of the Moon. On the Moon, the silence is absolute vacuum. On Mars, there is just enough air to carry a whisper. If you are standing on these ancient plains, you might hear the softest sigh of the wind moving over the dunes, a lonely, hollow sound that emphasizes the vastness of the empty space. It is a silence that feels expectant, as if the planet is holding its breath, waiting for a story that ended long ago to begin again. The atmosphere here is thin, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, and it casts a strange and lovely light over the surface. The sky of Mars is not blue like ours, but a soft, creamy pink, the color of a faded rose petal. It is a pastel sky that hangs gently over the rugged terrain. Because the air is so thin, it cannot hold the heat of the sun. As soon as the sun dips below the horizon, the temperature plummets, plunging the desert into a deep, penetrating freeze. It is a dry cold, a crisp and preserving cold that keeps the landscape frozen in time. The rocks here are shattered by the freeze-thaw cycles of eons, lying in sharp, angular piles that have not moved for millions of years. The most dominant feature of this world is the dust. It is not like the gritty sand of Earth's beaches. It is a powder as fine as flour, as soft as smoke. It covers everything. It fills the craters, it drifts into dunes that look like frozen waves, and it coats the rocks in a layer of red velvet. This dust is so light that it can hang suspended in the atmosphere for months, creating a permanent, soft haze that diffuses the sunlight. When the seasons change and the warmth of the distant sun causes the atmosphere to stir, great dust storms can rise up, but these are not violent, destructive tempests. In the thin air, the wind pushes with a gentle hand. These storms are more like billowing curtains of silk, vast clouds of red mist that slowly wrap the entire planet in a shroud, hiding the surface from view, turning the world into a featureless, glowing ball of copper. Then, just as slowly, the dust settles, drifting down like microscopic snow, returning the planet to its sharp clarity. As we wander across this rusty expanse, we begin to notice the ghosts of the past. Mars is a planet of memory. Etched into the surface are the undeniable, winding shapes of riverbeds. They meander through the highlands, branching out like the veins of a leaf, carving deep channels into the rock, before emptying into vast flat basins that were once lakes, or perhaps even an ocean. Billions of years ago, Mars was likely warm and wet. It had thick clouds, falling rain, and rushing rivers. It was a sister to the Earth. But gravity here is weaker, and the magnetic field faded, allowing the atmosphere to slip away into space. The water dried up or retreated underground, locking itself away in ice caps and frozen soil. Now these dry riverbeds are monuments to what used to be. They are silent scars that tell a story of flow and movement in a world now defined by stillness. There is a poignant beauty in them. They remind us that planets have lives, that they evolve and change, moving from vibrant youth to a quiet, reflective old age. It holds the shape of the river long after the water has gone, preserving the memory of the flow in stone. Dominating one hemisphere of the planet is a scar of a different kind, the Valles Marineris. It is a canyon system so vast that it would stretch from New York to California if placed on Earth. But it is not a jagged tear. It is a grand, widening valley, a place where the crust of the planet simply sighed and opened up billions of years ago. To drift through this canyon would be to float between walls that rise miles into the pink sky, revealing layer upon layer of geological history. Fog often settles in the floor of these canyons in the early morning, a thin white mist made of water ice crystals, hugging the ground before burning off in the weak afternoon sun. It is one of the few active movements on the planet, a daily cycle of frost and vapor that breathes softly in the deep places. And then there are the mountains. Mars is home to the largest volcanoes in the solar system, titans that dwarf anything on Earth. The greatest of them all is Olympus Mons. It is a shield volcano, which means it is not a steep, pointy peak, but a vast, gently sloping mound, like a warrior's shield laid on the ground. It is 3 times the height of Mount Everest. It is so wide that if you were standing on its edge, you would not realize you were on a mountain. The slope would simply extend to the horizon, disappearing over the curve of the planet. Olympus Mons grew so large because Mars does not have moving tectonic plates. The crust stayed still over a hot spot of magma for millions of years, allowing the lava to pile up, layer by layer, undisturbed. It has been asleep for eons. The fire is gone. It sits now as a silent guardian of the Tharsis region, its caldera reaching up past the atmosphere into the vacuum of space, a mountain that touches the stars. There is a magical moment that happens every evening on Mars, a reversal of what we know on Earth. On our blue planet, the sunset turns red. On the red planet, the sunset turns blue. As the sun sinks toward the flat horizon, the red dust in the atmosphere scatters the light in a unique way, filtering out the warm tones and allowing only the blue light to penetrate near the sun's disk. The result is a cool, serene blue halo surrounding the setting sun, a sapphire eye closing in a copper face. It is a moment of alien beauty, a quiet signal that the day is done and the bitter cold of the night is arriving. The stars begin to emerge, sharp and unblinking in the thin air, and the ground gives up its meager heat, settling into the long, frozen darkness. Mars is not entirely alone in its orbit. It has captured 2 small companions, Phobos and Deimos. They are not round, majestic spheres like our moon. They are small, lumpy, irregular-shaped rocks, likely asteroids that strayed too close and were caught by Mars's gravity. They look like potatoes, battered and cratered, dark remnants of the early solar system. Phobos, the larger one, orbits so close to the planet that it races across the sky. It rises in the west and sets in the east, crossing the sky twice in a single Martian day. It is a frantic, hurried little moon, spiraling slowly inward, destined to one day break apart and form a ring around the planet. Deimos, on the other hand, drifts far out in the distance. It looks like nothing more than a particularly bright star. It rises in the east and takes days to slowly cross the sky, a lazy, distant spectator. These two moons are the driftwood of the cosmos, caught in the eddy of Mars, circling the rusted world in a silent, uneven waltz. There is a feeling of waiting on Mars. The rovers we have sent there, small, robotic explorers, sit silent on the surface or trundle slowly across the dunes. They are the only movement on the entire planet. They have found that the soil is rich in the ingredients for life, that the ice caps hold vast reserves of water, that the history of this place is deep and complex, but for now, it sleeps. It is a world in hibernation. The chemistry is there, the history is there, but the spark is hidden. It is a sleeping beauty planet, preserved in amber, or rather, preserved in rust and ice. As we hover over the polar ice caps, we see a different kind of terrain. Here it is not red, but a blinding, brilliant white. These caps are made of water ice and frozen CO2, dry ice. In the winter, the atmosphere itself freezes out onto the poles, adding layers of frost. In the summer, the dry ice sublimates, turning directly into gas, revealing the permanent water ice beneath. These spiral patterns of white ice against the red dust are breathtaking, looking like the swirl of cream in a cup of coffee. It is a reserve of hope, a frozen bank account of water that suggests Mars is not dead, but merely locked away, guarding its resources for a future we cannot yet see. We feel a strange kinship with this world. It is smaller than Earth, colder and older in its geology. It feels like an elder sibling that grew up too fast and is now resting. The gravity here is gentle, only about a third of what we feel on Earth. If you were walking here, you would feel light, buoyant, as if the planet were not holding you down, but merely suggesting you stay. It is a forgiving gravity, easy on the weary bones, a place where burdens would literally feel lighter. As we prepare to leave the red planet, we take a final look at the Valles Marineris, the Great Scar, and Olympus Mons, the Great Shield. We see the dust devils spinning silently across the plains, dancing for no one. We see the blue sunset fading into the black night. Mars teaches us about the beauty of the aftermath. It shows us that even after the oceans dry and the air thins, there is majesty in what remains. It is a world of endurance. It has weathered the loss of its atmosphere, the cooling of its core, and the drying of its veins, and it remains dignified, beautiful, and steadfast in its orbit. We leave it to its long, cold slumber. We drift outward, passing the orbit of the slow, distant Deimos, moving away from the warmth of the inner solar system entirely. We are crossing the threshold now. We are leaving the realm of the rocks and the hard surfaces. Ahead of us lies the Great Divide, the asteroid belt, and beyond that, the kingdom of the giants. The silence deepens. The sun becomes a bright star. The solitude grows vast. But we are safe, drifting on the current of our imagination, carried by the gravity of the stars, moving deeper into the dream of the solar system. We leave the red, dusty twilight of Mars behind us, allowing the rusty glow of the planet to fade into a small, steady star in our wake. We are now venturing into the deep, wide expanse that separates the inner solar system from the outer realms. This is the Great Divide, a vast ocean of emptiness that stretches for hundreds of millions of miles. It is a transition zone, a boundary between the warm, rocky worlds we have visited, but this space is not entirely empty. We are entering the main asteroid belt, the river of stones that flows silently around the sun. When we imagine an asteroid belt, our minds often conjure images of chaos, a crowded, frantic field of tumbling rocks crashing into one another, a dangerous gauntlet that a spaceship must dodge with desperate skill. But the reality of space is far more serene and far more spacious than that. The asteroid belt is not a wall of debris. It is a ghost town of immense proportions. The distances between these drifting stones are vast, often spanning millions of miles of absolute nothingness. If you were standing on an asteroid in the middle of this belt, you would likely not see another asteroid in the sky. You would see only the stars, burning steady and cold. You would be completely alone, floating on a solitary island in a sea of black glass. The belt is not a barrier. It is a thin, sparse veil, spread out over such an incomprehensible area that it feels less like a crowd and more like a collection of lonely travelers, each on their own private journey through the dark. These stones are the leftovers of creation. They are the primordial rubble, the building blocks that never quite managed to come together to form a planet. 4.5 billion years ago, when the solar system was a swirling disk of dust and gas, these fragments tried to coalesce, tried to merge into a world, but the immense gravity of the giant Jupiter, lurking just beyond the horizon, tugged at them, keeping them stirred up, preventing them from settling down. And so, they remained as they were, fragments of a world that never was. They are suspended possibility, a planet that was paused in the middle of its birth and left to drift forever in pieces. As we move through this silent archipelago, we begin to see the shapes of these ancient drifters. They are not round like the planets. They are humble, irregular shapes, lumpy potatoes, twisted dumbbells, shards of rock with jagged edges that have been softened only by the bombardment of microscopic dust over aeons. Some are as large as cities, mountains of rock floating without a base. Others are no bigger than a house, or a car, or a pebble. They are dark, charcoal grey and black, rich in carbon and ancient metals, reflecting very little light. They are the shadows of the system, drifting almost invisibly against the backdrop of deep space. There is a profound silence here. In the rare event that two asteroids do drift close enough to touch, it is not a violent crash, but often a slow-motion kiss. They might gently bump together at the speed of a walking person, settling against each other with a soft thud that makes no sound in the vacuum. Sometimes they stick together, held by their weak gravity, forming a contact binary, two stones traveling together like holding hands. But mostly, they simply tumble. They rotate slowly, end over end, revealing their different faces to the distant sun. One side bakes in the weak sunlight, the other freezes in the shadow, and they turn and turn and turn, a repetitive motion that has continued without interruption since the dawn of time. Hidden within this stream of rock is a queen. Her name is Ceres. She is not a jagged shard, but a perfect sphere, massive enough that her own gravity has pulled her into a round shape. She is a dwarf planet, the lonely ruler of the belt. As we drift toward her, we see a world that is grey and cratered, but also mysteriously bright. There are spots on her surface that gleam like diamonds in a coal mine. These are deposits of salt and ice, remnants of an ancient underground ocean that seeped to the surface and froze. Ceres is a wet world in a dry place. She reminds us that even in the midst of the stone and the dust, there are hidden reservoirs of water, secret pockets of potential. She orbits in majestic isolation, a miniature planet that reigns over the millions of smaller subjects, leading the procession around the sun. We also find Vesta here, the second largest resident. Vesta is a battered survivor, an almost planet that carries a massive scar at its south pole, a crater so large it encompasses nearly the entire bottom of the world. It is a testament to a collision that happened billions of years ago, a silent impact that sent pieces of Vesta flying across the solar system. Some of those pieces have fallen to Earth as meteorites. It is a strange and beautiful thought, a rock you might pick up in a museum or see streaking across the night sky as a shooting star began its journey here, in this quiet, drifting river. It traveled for millions of years, crossing the great void to finally come to rest on our blue world. We are connected to this belt by these falling messengers. The movement of the asteroid belt is a masterclass in orbital mechanics. Every single stone, from the massive Ceres to the smallest grain of sand, is following a precise path dictated by gravity. They are not wandering aimlessly. They are marching. They orbit the sun in the same direction as the planets, a vast, wide ring of traffic that never stops. Yet because the loop is so huge, the movement feels incredibly slow. If you watched from a distance, nothing would seem to change. It would look like a still image. Only by watching for weeks or years would you notice the slow shift of positions. It is movement so grand that it looks like stillness. It is a dynamic quiet, a system that is active yet completely peaceful. There is a category of asteroids here known as the Trojans. These are groups of rocks that do not drift alone, but have been gathered up by the gravity of Jupiter. They orbit in two great swarms, one group marching ahead of the giant planet. They are locked in stable points called Lagrange points, trapped in a gravitational safe harbor. They are the guards of the giant, escorting the king of the planets through the dark. They have been there for billions of years, held in a delicate balance between the gravity of the sun and the gravity of Jupiter. Unable to leave, unable to fall, they are stuck in a cosmic eddy, safe and secure, drifting in formation. As we float amongst these drifting stones, we can feel the sheer age of the solar system. On Earth, the wind and rain erase the past, mountains are worn down, craters are filled in, continents shift. The face of the Earth is constantly being given a makeover. But here, in the vacuum, nothing erases the history. A crater formed 3 billion years ago looks exactly the same today as it did the moment it was made. These rocks are time capsules. They are the original material, the pristine leftovers from the solar nebula. To look at them is to look directly into the nursery where the solar system was born. They hold the chemical secrets of our origins, locking them away in stone and ice, waiting silently for us to understand them. The belt also marks a significant boundary in the solar system known as the frost line. Inside this line, closer to the sun where the Earth and Mars reside, it is too warm for certain ices to remain solid. But out here, past the belt, the temperature drops low enough that water, ammonia, and methane freeze into rock-hard ice. This is the transition from the realm of rock to the realm of cold giants. The asteroids are the border guards. They patrol the edge of the warmth, marking the frontier where the sun's influence begins to wane significantly, and the deep cold of the outer system takes over. There is a unique kind of loneliness here. But it is not a sad loneliness. It is a clean, uncluttered solitude. It is the feeling of being in a vast, empty room where you can finally hear yourself think. The lack of atmosphere means the stars are fiercely bright, unblinking eyes that watch from every direction. The sun is smaller here, a bright coin rather than a furnace, casting long, sharp shadows that stretch across the craters. In this stark lighting, the textures of the asteroids stand out. The rough regolith, the smooth plains of dust, the sharp ridges. It is a landscape of high contrast, black and white, light and shadow, with no softening shades of blue or green. Sometimes a comet will pass through this region, diving in from the far outer reaches on its way to the sun. It brings a brief moment of activity, trailing a tail of gas and dust that glows in the starlight. The asteroids watch it pass, as silent residents watching the hurried visitor. The comet is losing itself, evaporating as it gets closer to the heat, while the asteroids remain stoic and unchanged. They are the constants. They are the heavy, silent anchors of the middle system, content to drift in their loops, while the comets flare and fade. We can imagine drifting alongside one of these rocks. Let's choose a small one, perhaps the size of a park. We match its speed, floating just inches above its surface. We can see the pebbles resting there, held by the faintest whisper of gravity. We can see the ancient dust. We feel the slow rotation as the universe turns around us. First the sun, then the stars, then the sun, then the stars. A hypnotic, endless cycle. There is no weather to worry about, no storms to seek shelter from, no sound to disturb the peace. Just the slow, tumbling drift. It is a place of absolute neutrality. It demands nothing. It offers nothing but its presence. And in that lack of demand, there is a deep, resonant rest. We realize that this belt is like a buffer zone, a spacer, that keeps the inner planets safe from the giants, and the giants separate from the rocky worlds. It provides the necessary distance for each family of planets to exist in their own way. It is the open space in the architecture of the solar system, the courtyard between the houses. It reminds us that space, literal, empty space, is necessary for structure. Without the gaps, without the silence, the music of the spheres would just be noise. The asteroid belt is the pause in the melody, the breath between the notes. As we traverse this wide river of stone, moving closer to the outer edge, we begin to sense a change. The gravity in the area is shifting. The chaotic, tumbling freedom of the asteroids is being subtly organized by a massive force ahead. The belt is thinning out. The stones are becoming fewer and farther between. We are approaching the gravitational influence of something truly immense. The darkness ahead is dominated by a new presence, a world so large that it acts as a second sun, a failed star that rules the outer darkness. We leave the drifting stones behind, letting them continue their silent, tumbling vigil. We have crossed the bridge. We have navigated the archipelago of the void. We have seen the beauty of the unfinished, the dignity of the fragments, and now the largest planet of them all rises to meet us. The king is waiting. As we leave the sparse and silent archipelago of the asteroid belt, we feel a shift in the very fabric of the space around us. The gravity of the solar system deepens, pulling us toward a presence so vast that it anchors the entire outer darkness. We are approaching the king of planets, the colossal Jupiter. From a distance, it glows with a creamy, steadfast light, brighter than any star, a beacon that has guided astronomers and dreamers for centuries. But as we draw closer, The point of light resolves into a world of breathtaking complexity and painted beauty. This is not a world of rock and stone like the ones we have left behind. It is a world of air, a sphere composed entirely of gas and liquid. Jupiter is so immense that it could swallow all the other planets combined and still have room to spare. If the Earth were the size of a grape, Jupiter would be a basketball. It is a failed star, a body that gathered almost enough material to ignite into a second sun but stopped just short, remaining forever in the twilight realm between planet and star. Because it has no solid surface, there is no place to land. It is a world of pure atmosphere, deepening endlessly into an abyss of pressure and heat. To look at Jupiter is to look at a masterpiece of fluid dynamics, a canvas where the artist is the wind and the paint is the cloud. The planet is wrapped in bands of clouds that stretch horizontally across the globe, alternating between zones of pale white ammonia crystals and belts of reddish-brown chemical compounds. These stripes are not static. They are jet streams moving at hundreds of miles per hour, sliding past one another in opposite directions. Yet from our high vantage point, this movement appears impossibly slow, a majestic, sliding grace. It looks like a painting of oil on water, the colors bleeding and swirling into one another, creating eddies and knots of intricate detail. It is a visual representation of turbulence, rendered into perfect stillness by distance. We are watching a storm that has been raging for eons, but here it feels like a meditation. Dominating the southern hemisphere is the Great Red Spot, a feature so iconic it feels like the eye of the solar system watching us. It is a storm, yes, an anticyclonic vortex larger than the entire Earth, but it is not a violent destroyer in the way we understand storms. It is a stable, enduring structure, a permanent knot in the weather. It has been churning there for at least 300 years, perhaps longer. It turns counterclockwise, a slow, hypnotic spiral of crimson and ochre, rising high above the surrounding cloud deck. It is a mountain made of wind. To watch it is to watch a potter's wheel that never stops spinning, a testament to the stability of the giant. It reminds us that even in a state of constant motion, there can be a profound and lasting order. Beneath these visible clouds, deep down in the dark interior, where the pressure becomes unimaginable, the hydrogen gas is squeezed until it transforms. It becomes a strange metallic liquid, a substance that exists nowhere on Earth. This vast, churning ocean of metallic hydrogen generates a magnetic field of immense power, a shield that stretches millions of miles into space. It captures particles from the sun and sings with radio waves, a deep, booming chorus that resonates through the vacuum. Jupiter is the loudest radio source in the sky after the sun. It is humming a low, electromagnetic note, a song of power and protection that reverberates through the dark. Circling this giant is a miniature solar system of its own. Jupiter is surrounded by a retinue of nearly 100 moons, but 4 of them, the Galilean moons, stand out as worlds in their own right. We see Io, a colorful sphere of sulfur and volcanoes painting its orbit with invisible particles. We see Europa, a smooth ball of cracked ice hiding a global ocean of liquid water beneath its frozen shell, a silent womb where life might one day be found. We see Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, bigger even than the planet Mercury, a king among satellites. And we see Callisto, the oldest and most cratered face in the family, a dark and dusty witness to the history of bombardment. They dance around their parent in a rhythmic resonance, a clockwork precision that plays out over days and weeks. They are the courtiers of the king, forever bound to his side, caught in the gravity of his magnificence. Jupiter acts as the great shepherd of the solar system, Its immense gravity captures wayward comets and asteroids, either flinging them out of the system entirely or drawing them into itself, swallowing the danger so that the inner worlds, like Earth, remain safe. It has taken the hits for us. It is the big brother, the guardian that clears the path. As we drift past its equator, watching the cloud bands flow like rivers of silk, we feel a sense of gratitude for this giant. It hangs there in the blackness, heavy and serene, a stabilizing anchor that keeps the rest of the family in balance. We leave the king behind, his gravity gently handing us off to the next realm. We travel deeper into the dark, doubling the distance from the sun once again. The light grows dimmer, the cold grows sharper. And then, emerging from the shadows, we see it, the jewel of the solar system, Saturn. If Jupiter is a painting, Saturn is a sculpture. It is widely considered the most beautiful object in the known universe, a vision of elegance that seems too perfect to be real. The planet itself is a pale gold, a soft, butterscotch sphere that is less turbulent than Jupiter, more hazy and dreamlike. It is the least dense of all the planets. It is a world so light and fluffy that if you could find a bathtub large enough, Saturn would float in it. It is a ball of helium and hydrogen mist, spinning so fast that it bulges at the equator, looking like a sphere that has been gently squashed by the hand of a giant. But it is the rings that steal our breath away. From this distance, they look like a solid sheet of gold, a flat, perfect disk surrounding the planet. But as we glide closer, hovering just above the plane of the rings, we see that they are not solid at all. They are a river of millions, perhaps billions, of individual pieces of ice. They range in size from tiny grains of sugar to boulders the size of houses. Each one is a miniature moon, orbiting Saturn in its own lane, reflecting the sunlight with a dazzling brilliance. They are made of water ice, pure and shimmering. It is a blizzard that has been caught in a circle, a snowstorm that has been organized into perfect geometry. The silence of the rings is profound. Despite the fact that there are millions of particles moving at thousands of miles per hour, they do not crash and clamor. They flow. It is a laminar flow, smooth and orderly. They ripple like water. When a small moonlet passes nearby, its gravity raises waves in the rings, tall spikes of ice that rise up and cast long shadows across the white expanse. These are the shepherd moons, small guardians that patrol the gaps in the rings, herding the ice particles, keeping the lanes clear and the edges sharp. It is a garden of ice, tended by gravity. We notice the colors within the rings, shades of beige, gray, and hints of pink, created by dust mixing with the ice. But mostly, they are bright, reflecting the distant sun with a ghostly sheen. When Saturn casts its shadow across the rings, the darkness cuts through them like a knife, turning the ice off, plunging that section into an eclipse. And when we drift to the dark side of the planet, looking back toward the sun, the rings glow with the backlight, looking like a halo of smoke, ethereal and fragile. There is a mystery at the North Pole of Saturn. The clouds there have formed into a perfect hexagon, a six-sided shape that has persisted for decades. It is a geometric storm, a mathematical impossibility that exists in nature. It rotates slowly, changing color with the seasons from blue to gold. It looks like a great eye, or perhaps a mandala, spinning silently at the top of the world. It is a reminder that nature loves patterns, that even in the chaotic flow of gas and wind, structure emerges. It creates a sense of awe, a feeling that this planet is a piece of art that has been crafted with deliberate care. Saturn is also the home of Titan, a moon so large and so thick with atmosphere that it is a planet in all but name. Titan is wrapped in a thick orange haze, hiding its surface. Beneath that haze lies a world that is strangely familiar, yet utterly alien. It has rain, rivers, and lakes, but they are not made of water. They are made of liquid methane and ethane. It is a cold, dark mirror of Earth, a place where the rain falls in slow motion due to the low gravity, drifting down like oil. It is a quiet, chemical wonderland, a laboratory where the ingredients of life are simmering in the cold. Deep inside Saturn, it is raining diamonds. The immense pressure of the atmosphere crushes carbon atoms until they crystallize, falling through the sky like glittering hail. They sink deeper and deeper, melting as they reach the core, creating a rain of liquid diamond. It is a hidden richness, a treasure that no one will ever see, falling endlessly in the dark heart of the planet. It suggests a kind of hidden value in the universe, a beauty that exists solely for itself, without the need for an audience. The movement of Saturn is leisurely. It takes 20 to 9 Earth years to complete one orbit around the Sun. A single year on Saturn is a generation on Earth. The seasons here last for 7 years. It is a place of long, slow cycles. If you lived here, you would grow up, age, and change before the planet had even finished 1/4 of its journey. This slowness imparts a sense of peace, a feeling that there is no rush. The universe is unfolding at its own pace, and Saturn is the great timekeeper, marking the eras with the slow tilt of its rings. Drifting between these two giants, Jupiter and Saturn, we feel small, but not insignificant. We feel held. These worlds are the heavyweights, the anchors, that keep the solar system from flying apart. They are the elder statesmen, the kings of the dark. They do not burn with the fury of the sun. They glow with the heat of their own formation, still settling, still evolving after 4 billion years. They are patient. They are majestic. They are quiet. To look at Saturn's rings is to look at a record of history. They are likely the remains of a moon that was torn apart, a beautiful destruction that created a halo of light. It teaches us that something broken can become something magnificent. The debris did not scatter into chaos. It found a new form, a new order, creating a crown for the planet. It is a lesson in transformation, in the way the universe recycles its material into new and wondrous shapes. As we linger here, bathed in the soft, golden light of Saturn, we let the tranquility of the scene wash over us. We imagine the sound of the rings, not a crashing but a soft, crystalline tinkling, like wind chimes made of glass, whispering in the void. We imagine the feeling of the low gravity on the moons, the ability to float, to bounce, to be weightless. We are far from the worries of the inner solar system. The Earth is just a bright speck from here, indistinguishable from the stars. All the noise, all the urgency, all the lists of things to do, they are all dissolved in the distance. Here, there is only the gold, the ice, and the silence. We are reaching the limit of what the naked eye can easily see from Earth. Beyond this point, we enter the telescopic realm, the deep outer darkness where the sun is just a particularly bright star, providing very little heat. We are leaving the visible giants behind. We are setting our course for the frozen outer edges, for the worlds of blue ice and midnight winds. But before we go, we take one last look at the jewel, tilting its rings at us in a silent farewell, a perfect circle of ice, suspended in the forever. The giants fade behind us, their gravity wells smoothing out, releasing us back into the gentle drift. We are lighter now. We are traveling into the deep freeze, into the hush of the true north of the solar system. The journey continues, slower, deeper, quieter. We have journeyed far. We have left the warmth of the inner rocky worlds, drifted through the silent river of asteroids, and marveled at the golden grandeur of Jupiter and Saturn. Now we cross a threshold into a different kind of darkness. We are entering the realm of the deep freeze, a place where the sun is no longer a blazing furnace, but a brilliant, sharp point of light, more like a guiding star than a giver of heat. The shadows here are long and absolute. The space between worlds has grown immense, vast stretches of empty vacuum that separate the giants from one another. In this quiet twilight region, we find the ice giants, two lonely siblings wrapped in cloaks of blue, spinning silently in the eternal winter of the solar system. First, we approach Uranus. From the darkness, a pale green-blue orb emerges, glowing softly like a piece of sea glass tumbled by the ocean of time. It is a ghost of a planet, featureless and serene. Unlike Jupiter and Saturn, which are painted with stripes and storms, Uranus appears almost perfectly smooth to our eyes, a calm, aquamarine pool that reveals nothing of what lies beneath. This color comes from methane in its atmosphere, which absorbs the red light of the distant sun and reflects only the cool blue-green tones back into space. It is the color of ice, the color of cold, a visual signal that we have reached the thermal floor of the solar system. Uranus holds the title of the coldest planet, a world where the temperature drops to hundreds of degrees below zero, a chill so profound that the very atoms seem to shiver into stillness. It is an ice giant, not because it is a solid ball of ice like a snowball, but because its interior is made of a hot, dense fluid of icy materials, water, methane, and ammonia. It is a slushy, hidden ocean wrapped in thick layers of gas, keeping its secrets locked away under the cloud tops. But the most remarkable thing about Uranus is its posture. While all the other planets spin like tops, standing upright or slightly tilted as they orbit the sun, Uranus is lying down. It rests on its side. Its axis is tilted almost 98 degrees, meaning it is essentially rolling along its orbital path like a ball. It is the sleeper of the solar system, the only world that has chosen to recline. Astronomers believe that long ago, in the violent youth of the system, a massive object struck Uranus, knocking it over. But the violence of that event is long gone. Now, there is only the peace of the result. The planet has settled into this new position, comfortable and balanced, turning lazily on its side as it drifts through the void. This extreme tilt creates the most unusual seasons in the entire solar system. On Earth, a season lasts a few months. On Uranus, a season lasts for 20 years. For 2 decades, one pole is pointed directly at the sun, bathed in a constant pale daylight that never fades, while the other pole is plunged into 21 years of absolute, unbroken darkness. It is a world of extremes, of endless days and endless nights. If you were born on the dark side of Uranus, you might live your entire childhood and adolescence without ever seeing the sun. It creates a rhythm of life that is agonizingly slow, a cycle of light and dark that is measured not in hours but in generations. It is a planet of patience, where the night is a long, deep hibernation. Drifting past Uranus, we notice it has rings too, but unlike the grand glittering halo of Saturn, these rings are dark and thin, made of dust and dark rocks that reflect almost no light. They are charcoal ribbons, barely visible against the black sky, fragile and elusive. They are like a whisper compared to Saturn's shout, and circling this sleeping giant are its moons, named not for gods and heroes, but for characters from the plays of William Shakespeare and the poems of Alexander Pope. We find Titania, Oberon, Puck, and Miranda. These literary spirits dance around the reclining world, performing a silent play in the dark. Miranda, the strangest of them all, looks like a jigsaw puzzle that was put together wrong, a patchwork of cliffs and canyons that suggests it was once broken apart and gently reassembled by gravity. It is a world of scars that have healed. We leave the pale green dream of Uranus and travel even further, pushing out to the very edge of the main planetary realm. We are nearly 3 billion miles from home. The sun is now just a particularly bright star, its warmth barely a memory. Here, in the deepest part of the shadow, waits Neptune. Neptune is the twin of Uranus in size, but it wears a different coat. It is not pale. It is a vivid, deep, royal blue. It is the color of the deep ocean, the color of a sapphire buried in the earth. It looks intense, saturated, and unbelievably beautiful against the velvet blackness. If Uranus is a calm pool, Neptune is the deep sea. Despite being so far from the sun's energy, Neptune is home to the fastest winds in the solar system. Great streams of atmosphere whip around the planet at speeds that break the sound barrier, moving 5 times faster than the strongest hurricane on Earth. But from our vantage point, floating high above the atmosphere, we do not hear the roar. Space is silent. We see only the beauty of the flow. We see white clouds of frozen methane, looking like high cirrus clouds on Earth, casting shadows onto the blue deck below. These clouds appear and vanish quickly, forming and dissolving in the high-speed currents. We might catch a glimpse of the great dark spot, a storm the size of Earth that appears like a hole in the blue, drifting like a ghost before fading away. It is a planet of elusive moods, a world that is active and alive despite the freezing cold. There is a theory that deep inside both Neptune and Uranus, hidden thousands of miles beneath the blue clouds, it is raining diamonds. The immense pressure of the atmosphere squeezes carbon atoms so tightly that they crystallize, forming diamonds that rain down through the slushy mantle like glittering hailstones. They fall slowly toward the core, accumulating in vast layers of precious stone that no human eye will ever see. It is a thought of pure luxury and romance that the hearts of these cold, lonely giants are lined with the hardest and most brilliant gems in the universe. It suggests that value is not about being seen, it is about what is held deep within. Neptune is accompanied by a mysterious companion, the large moon Triton. Triton is unique among the large moons because it orbits backward. It moves in the opposite direction to Neptune's spin, a clear sign that it was not born here. Triton was likely a wanderer, a dwarf planet from the far outer reaches that strayed too close and was captured by Neptune's gravity. It is a lost traveler that found a home. Triton is one of the coldest objects we have ever measured, frozen so solid that its surface is covered in nitrogen ice. And yet, it is active. There are geysers on Triton, erupting not with fire, but with plumes of nitrogen gas and dust, shooting 5 miles into the thin atmosphere before drifting away in the wind. It is a cryovolcano, a volcano of ice. It reminds us that energy can exist even in the deepest freeze, that the universe is never truly dead, only sleeping.
To orbit Neptune is to experience the true meaning of a year.
It takes Neptune 165 Earth years to complete a single circle around the Sun. Since its discovery in 1846, Neptune has completed only one full orbit.
The pace of life here is glacial. It moves with a stateliness that ignores the frantic ticking of our clocks. It teaches us the perspective of deep time. The planet does not hurry. It does not worry about being late. It simply moves, steady and sure, fulfilling its long, lonely path through the dark. There is a profound sense of isolation here, but it is a safe isolation. Neptune acts as the final sentinel, the gatekeeper of the solar system. Beyond it lies the Kuiper Belt and the true unknown. Neptune marks the boundary of the family, the last of the major siblings. Looking back from Neptune toward the Sun, the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, are invisible, lost in the glare of the central star. Even Jupiter and Saturn are just bright points of light. We are on the frontier. We are standing on the widow's walk of the solar system, looking out into the interstellar ocean. The magnetic fields of these ice giants are strange too. They are not aligned with the poles, but are tilted at wild angles and offset from the center of the planets. It is as if the magnetic heart of the world is wandering, unsure of where to settle. This creates complex, twisting magnetospheres that dance in the dark, interacting with the weak solar wind in patterns that are completely different from Earth or Jupiter. It is a unique, invisible choreography, a magnetic aurora that shimmers unseen in the ultraviolet dark. Floating here, suspended in the blue twilight of Neptune, we feel a heaviness lift from us. The cold is not biting, it is preserving. It is a stillness that slows down the heart and quiets the mind. The frantic energy of heat and light has dissipated. Here, everything is slow. The atoms move slowly. The winds, though fast, flow in smooth, laminar streams. The moons drift in wide, lazy arcs. It is a place of deep rest. It is the bedroom of the solar system, the cool, dark corner where the curtains are drawn and the noise of the day is shut out completely. We realize that these blue worlds are the guardians of water. They hold vast amounts of water ice, more than all the oceans of Earth combined. They are the reservoirs, the hydration of the galaxy, locking away the life-giving molecule in a safe frozen vault. They are holding it for the future, preserving it in the deep freeze of space. They are the silent providers, waiting for a time when they might be needed. As we linger in the shadow of the backward moon Triton, watching the geysers puff silently into the black, we feel the immense distance we have traveled. We are so far from home that the radio signals from Earth take 4 hours to reach us, traveling at the speed of light. We are separated from our worries by 4 light hours of silence. That gap is a buffer, a cushion of time and space that protects us. Here, in the realm of the ice giants, we can finally let go of the need to be warm, the need to be active, the need to be seen. We can simply exist, like the diamonds falling in the dark, beautiful and hidden. We cast our gaze one final time at the royal blue sphere of Neptune and the pale cyan pearl of Neptune. They are the twin pillars of the outer dark, the cold sentinels that mark the edge of the king's domain. They do not ask for our attention. They spin on, indifferent and majestic, rolling through their 20-year seasons and their century-long years. They are the definition of endurance. And as we drift past them, carried by the last weak whispers of the solar wind, we turn our faces toward the true darkness. We are leaving the planets behind. We are entering the debris fields, the home of the dwarfs, the edge of night. The blue fades into the black. The cold deepens into comfort. The silence becomes a physical weight, a heavy blanket pulling us down into sleep. We are drifting toward the final frontier. We have left the realm of the giants behind. The brilliant blue of Neptune has faded into the distance, becoming just another star in a sky filled with stars. We are now drifting into the third zone of the solar system, a region so vast and so dark that it makes the rest of our journey seem like a mere walk across a room. This is the Kuiper Belt, the twilight frontier where the leftovers of creation have been swept to the very edges of the map. It is silent here. The sun is so far away that it provides almost no heat, appearing only as a fiercely bright point of light, stripped of its golden warmth. In this deep, permanent night, we find a world that has captured the hearts of people on Earth more than any other. We find Pluto. Emerging from the shadows, Pluto appears not as a dark, dead rock, but as a world of surprising and delicate beauty. It is small, smaller than our own moon, yet it possesses a dignity that defies its size. As we drift closer, the first thing we notice is the color. It is not grey, but a palette of pale creams, light browns, and soft charcoal blacks. And there, etched clearly onto its surface, is a vast, bright, white shape. It is a heart, a perfect, undeniable heart shape, glowing against the darker terrain. This is the Tombaugh Regio, a vast glacier made not of water, but of frozen nitrogen. This heart is alive in the slowest, most sleepy sense of the word. Because Pluto is so cold, nitrogen turns into a solid, flowing like a glacier on Earth, but with the consistency over thousands of years. This nitrogen ice slowly churns and flows, erasing craters, smoothing out the surface, keeping the heart young and unblemished. It is a beating heart of ice, circulating slowly in the dark, refreshing the face of the dwarf planet. It beats to a rhythm of geological time, a pulse that throbs once every few million years. It is a symbol of warmth and emotion imprinted on the coldest world we know, a reminder that even at the edge of existence, there is room for softness. It is accompanied by its faithful companion, Charon. Charon is so large compared to Pluto that they are not really a planet and a moon, but a double world, a binary system spinning together in the dark. They are locked in a permanent gazing embrace. Pluto always shows the same face to Charon, and Charon always shows the same face. They pivot around a point in empty space between them, looking into each other's eyes forever, never turning away, never blinking. It is a waltz that has lasted for billions of years, a relationship of perfect balance and mutual attention. If you stood on Pluto, Charon would hang motionless in the sky, a massive, silent sentinel that never rises and never sets, simply watching over the frozen landscape. The atmosphere of Pluto is a ghost. When Pluto's eccentric orbit brings it closer to the Sun, the nitrogen ice sublimates, creating a thin, hazy blue atmosphere that hugs the surface. But when it moves away, journeying into the deeper cold, the atmosphere freezes and falls back to the ground as snow. It is a world where the sky literally falls down to rest. Currently, the atmosphere is there, creating layers of blue haze that we can see backlit by the distant sun, a fragile halo wrapping the little world in a thin veil of mystery. It is a transient breath, a sigh that lasts for a few decades before the long holding of breath returns. Orbiting Pluto takes patience. It takes 248 Earth years for this small world to complete just one circle around the Sun. Since it was discovered by humans in 1930, Pluto has not even completed half of an orbit. It is still in the same season. It moves with a deliberate slowness, drifting through the dark sectors of the zodiac, unconcerned with the frantic pace of the inner worlds. It is the keeper of the long calendar. To live here would be to live a life almost entirely in twilight, a place where time stretches out, becoming thin and elastic. Beyond Pluto, the Kuiper belt stretches out for billions of miles. It is similar to the asteroid belt we visited earlier. But instead of rock and metal, these objects are made of pristine ice. They are the frozen fossils of the solar system, preserved in the deep freeze since the very beginning. There are millions of them, small, icy worlds, drifting in silence. Some are red, stained by organic compounds reacting to starlight over eons. Some are covered in fresh white frost. They are the silent majority of our system, the countless nameless stones that mark the boundary of our home. They do not collide. They float in solitary confinement, separated by vast gulfs of emptiness. They are the attic of the solar system, where the old memories are stored in boxes of ice, untouched and gathering dust. We drift past other dwarf planets out here. Eris, Haumea, Makemake. Haumea spins so fast that it has been pulled into the shape of an oval, like a rugby ball, tumbling end over end. Eris is a world of blinding white brightness, far away and lonely. They are the other kings and queens of the twilight, ruling over their own silent domains. They remind us that the solar system is not just the 8 planets we learn about in school. It is a crowded, complex, and beautiful family, with distant cousins living out in the hills, happy in their solitude. As we move even further out, leaving the Kuiper belt behind, we enter the heliosphere's edge. This is the bubble created by the sun's wind. We are crossing the heliopause, the theoretical boundary where the wind from the sun finally dies down, pushing against the interstellar medium, the gas and dust of the galaxy. This is the cliff's edge. Behind us is the influence of our star. Ahead of us is the true, deep ocean of the Milky Way. We are standing on the shore of our island, looking out at the open sea. The sun is now just the brightest star in the sky, barely distinguishable from Sirius or Canopus. Its gravity is a weak whisper here, a thin thread that barely holds these distant objects in place. But even this is not the end. Surrounding our entire solar system, like a massive spherical shell, is the Oort cloud. It is a structure of immense proportions, extending nearly a light year into space. It is the cocoon in which our solar system sleeps. The Oort cloud is the home of the comets. Billions, perhaps trillions, of icy bodies hang here in the absolute blackness. They are not moving in flat orbits like the planets. They are scattered in every direction, forming a thick sphere of sleeping potential. These comets are dormant. They are dirty snowballs, mixtures of rock, dust, and frozen gases, waiting for a nudge. They can hang here, suspended in the void, for billions of years, completely unchanged. They are seeds of ice, waiting for a season that may never come. Occasionally, a passing star or a galactic tide will gently disturb one, causing it to fall inward toward the sun. Only then does it wake up, growing a tail and becoming the spectacular visitor we see in our night skies. But for now, here in the cloud, they are sleeping. They are dark, cold, and still. The distance here is almost impossible to comprehend. If you were floating in the Oort cloud, the sun would be just one star among many. You would feel no heat from it. You would be in the interstellar night. It is a place of perfect preservation. The cold is near absolute zero. At this temperature, chemistry stops. Decay stops. Change stops. It is a realm of eternal stasis. It is the most peaceful place in the solar system because it is the place where nothing happens. It is the deep, dreamless sleep of the universe. We can imagine the Voyager spacecrafts, the small robotic ambassadors we sent out decades ago, moving through this region. They are silent now, or nearly so, their cameras turned off, their instruments powering down. They are drifting ships, carrying a golden record of our sounds and images, a message in a bottle thrown into this cosmic ocean. They float past the sleeping comets, moving silently away from everything they have ever known. They are the ultimate travelers, finding peace in the endless journey. There is a comfort in knowing they are out there, extensions of our curiosity, resting on the gentle currents of galactic space. Here, at the edge, the concept of up and down vanishes completely. The concept of day and night loses all meaning. There is only the starlight. The darkness is not scary. It is velvet. It is soft. It is a blanket that wraps around the entire system, holding it together. We realize that the darkness is not an absence of things. It is the canvas upon which the stars are painted. It is the necessary background for light to exist. It is the quiet container for all the noise of the world. We have reached the limit. We have traveled from the burning core of the sun, past the rusted deserts and the gas giants, to the frozen heart of Pluto and the sleeping shell of the comets. We have seen the variety of our home: fire, rock, storm and ice. And now we hang here at the edge, looking back. The entire solar system is just a small, warm patch of light in the distance. All the history, all the noise, all the life we know is huddled around that central hearth. But out here, in the Oort cloud, there is only the peace of the void. This is the ultimate perspective. From this distance, everything is one. The planets are not separate nations. They are members of a single family. The struggles of life are not visible. There is only the unity of the light. The silence here is a healing balm. It enters our minds and quiets our own internal noise. It tells us that it is okay to stop. It is okay to be still. It is okay to float. The universe is vast enough to hold us, heavy enough to anchor us, and quiet enough to let us sleep. The comets sleep in their cloud. The dwarf planets sleep in their belt. The giants sleep in their orbits. And the sun burns quietly in the center, keeping watch. The system is in balance. The work is done. The motion is stable. There is nothing that needs to be fixed, nothing that needs to be changed. It is a perfect, suspended moment of cosmic harmony. As we prepare to end our journey, we let ourselves become like the comets. We allow ourselves to hang weightless in the dark, supported by the invisible gravity, wrapped in the cold, comforting silence. We are no longer travelers. We are residents of the night. We are part of the drift. The edge of the solar system is not a wall. It is a soft fading out, a gentle transition from the known to the unknown, from the waking world to the dream. We are ready to return, not to the noise, but to the rest. We carry the silence of the Oort cloud with us. We carry the stillness of Pluto's heart. We carry the slow rhythm of the giants. We are heavy with the peace of the stars. The journey outward has led us inward to the quiet space inside ourselves where sleep is waiting. The stars are dimming now. The distances are dissolving. The edge of the night is here, and it is beautiful. Thank you for drifting through the solar system with me tonight. We have traveled an incredible distance together, moving from the blinding warmth of the central hearth out to the silent, frozen edges of the night. We have wandered through ancient starlight and unseen forces, feeling the quiet, turning motion of our cosmic home. We have stood in the shadow of the great giants. We have drifted alongside the lonely stones, and we have felt the deep, preserving cold of the furthest reaches. And now, having seen the grandeur of our neighborhood, it is time to return. It is time to descend gently from the stars and settle back into the warmth and safety of your own space. It is a profound comfort to know that we are part of such a magnificent system. We are not random wanderers lost in the chaos. We are residents of a structured, balanced, and beautiful family of worlds. The gravity that holds Jupiter in its orbit is the same gravity that holds you to your bed right now. The stardust that makes up the rings of Saturn is the same matter that forms your bones and your breath. You are not just an observer of this universe. You are a participant in it. You are a child of the solar system, safe within its heliosphere, protected by its giants, and warmed by its star. You belong here. If these calm, curious explorations help you unwind, I invite you to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here too. And now, there is nothing left for you to do but rest. The journey is complete. The curiosity has been satisfied. The mind has been fed. Now we let all of that drift away. Let all those facts, all those images of red deserts and blue ice simply dissolve like sugar in warm water. You do not need to remember any of it. You do not need to hold on to the names of the moons or the speed of the winds. Your mind has done enough work for today. The information can fade, leaving behind only the feeling of peace, the feeling of vastness, and the feeling of being held. The universe will continue its dance without you needing to watch it. The sun will rise and set. The planets will spin on their axes. The comets will sleep in the Oort cloud. It is a clockwork that never stops, a machine of infinite reliability. Because the solar system is taking care of the movement, you are free to be still. Because the sun is taking care of the light, you are free to embrace the dark. You can let go of everything, trusting that the world will be there when you wake up, just as steady and solid as it was when you closed your eyes. Feel the heavy comfort of your body sinking deeper into the mattress. Feel the boundaries of your room softening, the walls fading away into a comfortable velvet shadow. The silence of space has followed you home, not as a cold emptiness, but as a warm blanket of quiet. Let your breathing align with the slow rhythm of the celestial spheres. Inhale slowly, thinking of the rising tide. Exhale slowly, thinking of the setting moon. Your breath is the tide of your own body, a slow, hypnotic cycle that rocks you deeper and deeper into relaxation. There are no more questions to answer. There are no more distances to cross. You have arrived at the destination of sleep. It is a place of stillness, a sanctuary where the mind floats free from gravity. Allow yourself to sink down, past the thoughts of the day, past the dreams of the planets, into the deep, dark ocean of rest. The stars are dimming behind your eyelids. The universe is tucking you in. The night is a soft curtain drawn around you, shielding you from the light, offering you the gift of recovery. You are safe, you are calm, you are drifting. Close your eyes, rest, and dream of a quiet, radiant sea of stars. Good night.